Hey everyone, welcome to Geeks and Drinks. I'm Jason.
Jordan.
And we have a ton of Comic-Con news to talk about because what else is there to talk about this week?
We were also gone.
For a while. We're going to try to sneak in some reviews for Spider-Man Far From Home,
Stranger
Things Season 3, all the different trailers have been announced, all the Marvel stuff, some of the DC stuff. It's going to be...
some of the DC stuff and most of the Marvel stuff. No, we're basically going to discuss everything because DC didn't really announce much.
Yeah.
Because Marvel basically won.
This is true, but that was to be expected, though.
Not really.
To me, it was.
We'll go over that later.
Yeah. But let's talk about our drink. You have yet another tiki drink to talk about, or that you created, and this is the Wolfman, right?
Yes.
I have to say, this is, out of everything you've made so far, you have to stare at me while you drink.
I was mostly having this face to camera for once. Wow. I mean, I could have him stare at you.
Out of everything you've made so far, this is probably my favorite to date. I mean, everything you've made is absolutely delicious, but this one, I could down this right now and be perfectly happy with it.
I have some backup.
So what's in this?
Dry curacao, bitters, bourbon, blackcurrant liqueur, the ginger syrup I make from scratch. And what else am I forgetting? Seltzer and lime juice.
So with all of this, I mean, you actually worked for a while on trying to figure out.
Oh, this one fucking took forever.
I mean, what were some of the previous versions that you were working through?
I just trying a lot of different liquors and liqueurs and juices, trying to make it work. I knew I tried for a while to see if I can incorporate like this god awful juices, cranberry and pomegranate. That was the one I couldn't think of. Couldn't make anything stick. Tried different variations of like ginger beer before eventually just going no, just use the ginger syrup because it tastes better, has more of a ginger bite, which is the reason why I wanted it in the first place.
True. Well, that's the other thing too, is that with every one of these drinks you make, you're actually trying to use the original movie as the basis for it. So like if you're using, like with the Wolfman, American visiting London, so you had the bourbon aspect to it.
Yeah, because originally. Jess was like, you should try to realize where the movie's from and see if you can use that for anything. And I ended up settling using the blackcurrant because that's kind of an English sweet or an English thing. It really is, yeah. And then the bourbon because that's American as shit. So Larry Talbot goes to England. And then it just kind of fell into place. Yeah.
It's absolutely delicious, so... We'll eventually have to have them all together, but that'll be a very expensive venture. We'll put our funds together for that.
Dude, okay. I think I sent you a message yesterday. The roommate of mine, who's from Peru, or is Peruvian, he had a bottle of Pisco. He's like, have you ever had it before? No. Well, let's try it. It wasn't bad. He's like, well, try it with ginger ale. All right. It's kind of lame, but all right, let's do that.
Trying to make a Pisco sour? Or? And
he's like, I'm going to go get ingredients over the weekend because I want you to try to have a Pisco sour if you've ever had one. No? And he's like, yeah, I'll go get ingredients for it this weekend. What does it need? I don't really know off the top of my head. I Googled it. Dude, you know I have all those things, right? Like, the only thing I didn't have was Pisco.
Right.
Really? Yeah. I immediately assumed as much because Pisco sour. Sour mix is basically lemon or lime juice and simple syrup.
Yeah.
The ingredients itself was an egg white, lime juice, simple syrup, and an egg white. Sorry. Pisco, egg white, bitters, lime juice, and simple syrup.
Now, with the egg white, though, what is that designed for? Just give it more of a frothiness or tie everything together?
It gives it that frothy, milky flavor. Like, remember when we did Gin Day? We had the Ramos Gin Fizz?
Yes.
Remember it had a milky taste to it?
It did. Okay.
And the bitters is like a garnish. You're supposed to put like a dash or two on top. But he's like, you have everything? Yeah.
Like, he's really surprised by that fact?
Is this fucking amateur hour, man? Come on. You've seen my not shelf, my liquor cabinet, where literally there's just rows and rows of shit.
Yes. All right, well, let's get into some of the tons of trailers that have come out before, during, and after Comic-Con. Let's just get through just a few of them, starting with Picard. This is an upcoming series for CBS All Access. If you're outside the United States, you can watch it on Amazon Prime Video, which is included, so maybe use a VPN or something, because do you really want to spend $7 a month for this? I don't know.
I know you do.
One way or another, I'm going to be watching this because this trailer hit all the Trekkie nerd points for me.
Jess and I like that he had a pit bull.
Yes, having the pity there was quite nice, but again, Sir Patrick Stewart himself loves pit bulls, and he's been he can't own one because of laws in the UK went up, but he can foster them, and they are just absolutely adorable, and he like fawns over them. It's amazing. So I was happy to see that he was able to get a pit bull somewhere in this series. They also confirmed both in this trailer and in corresponding interviews that a majority of the Star Trek Next Generation cast will come back in some form or another. You have the ones you have confirmed so far. Obviously,
Data.
Picard, Data, Riker. 7 and 9 was a weird add-on because she's actually from Star Trek Voyager, which is in the future, but yet she's in the. I don't know. It's Borg. The Borg are back some way or another. There's another character that people are highly rumored to be just basically a digital being. So Borg human hybrid thing to the max level, whatever. You also have Martina Sirtis, Counselor Deanna Troi. She's going to come back.
I sense that you're thinking about this way too hard. Sorry, I was trying to do my best, Deanna Troi. Again, she annoyed the shit out of me the few times I tried to watch Star Trek Next Generation.
Because she was
She would just state the obvious. Riker would be pissed off doing whatever, and she's like, I sense that you're frustrated about something. No shit.
Okay.
I could have told you that, and I'm not claiming to be an empath.
Well, look at it this way.
Go back and wear your sexy spandex.
All the sexy spandex. Dude, Star Trek, in all of its variants, has essentially been a soap opera in space. So, you have random sci-fi goings on, but you also have tons of random sexy times and whatnot, so. Bunch of random nerds want to watch sci-fi and watch women. Leave it at that. But overall, this trailer just looks amazing. I want to know more about this. The trailer did enough. It did everything what I always like to see in a trailer. We've had problems in the past with previous trailers for other series and movies where they basically give away the plot entirely. But this one, Picard apparently retired from Starfleet. Something happened 20 years before, and it's still kind of haunting him to this day. That's all I kind of got. Also, the Borg are back, so.
Ever? Picard has a vineyard.
He's always had a vineyard. Anyways, I would gush more about it, but we'll have to wait till it comes out later on, I think this year. Anyways, It, Chapter 2, got another trailer. And
well, like an actual trailer. The first trailer was just like a
teaser
weird clip.
Oh, yeah, with the old lady and whatnot.
It didn't really show you anything except
what brings you back to Derry, dear? Yes.
Claire I think it was Claire. Whatever. Just her talking to some old lady who lives in her apartment now.
Yeah.
Naked lady, crack, whatever.
Yeah, that was weird.
This is an actual trailer. We get to see more Pennywise and more fun stuff that should be happening.
You see everybody grown up 27 years later, seeing more of the cast, and it just looks
it's chilling and awesome.
Yes. Cannot wait for it.
Even most people I know who aren't a huge fan of spooky shit like I am are like, ooh, I want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's a sign of good editing and a good storyline, hopefully. And I mean, because It Chapter 1 came out and it had broke a lot of box office records.
It blew expectations.
A lot of people just thoroughly enjoyed it, including, like you were saying, people who aren't really into horror movies are like, no, this was actually a really good movie. So we'll have to see. That one comes out October?
No, I want to say it's like September.
Even better. The sooner the better.
Like late September to where you get all of October involved. But yeah.
There you go. Okay. Moving on. Zombieland Double Tap, the sequel to the first movie which came out, what? 10 years ago? It's been a long time.
Forever ago, yeah.
It
just looks like over-the-top fun.
Yeah. Crazy shit. Zombies. Why not have fun with it? It should be good. The first movie, I thoroughly enjoyed. I saw it a couple times in theaters. It's just a fun popcorn flick. There's really no high stakes. Got those Twinkies at the end. Yeah, this is just basically a continuation of everything. So, you have Woody Harrelson's back as Tallahassee. You have
Emma Stone, Jesse Eisenberg, because he's not really doing anything.
Yeah, what has Jesse Eisenberg done instead of sitting in a locker?
No, we looked it up and went, oh, he has been doing shit. But nothing I've heard of or given a shit about.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's true. What else? Oh, yes, The Witcher. Henry Cavill taking on, the mantle. And everybody was I gathered from most internet responses that I was
Well,
reading.
nerds were pissy because there was like test photos and that was it, and they're like, no, he looks
Test
nothing like I thought.
photo,
Again,
yeah.
nerds will find a way to bitch.
Plus, also the fact that you have the Witcher game franchise, which they just purchased the licensing rights from the author, and they kind of went off on their own thing. CD Projekt Red came out and made, Witcher 3 is probably one of the most highly rated games in recent memory, and made a
But they like
boatload of
butchered
money.
the dude's story and he was butthurt. And then
Yeah,
then he wasn't making any money because he basically sold his life away.
Yep.
For pennies on the dollar.
Well, he sold I think it was like a flat rate rather than like a percentage of And because
We'll give you $10,000 for your book. Okay. Like some Motown singer, just shiny and dumb.
yeah. But yeah, this one actually has the author involved. He is saying like, this is what I would want to see in a live action adaptation of my story. I have a say in it. I'm here to make sure it's proper and correct and follows the book and the stories. I mean,
yeah. But you would hope.
But that's the thing though. People are gonna look at the game and think, oh, this is the adaptation of the game. They're from the same book, right? No. Just enjoy it for what it is. Separate your mind from the game itself and figure it as a brand new IP and just enjoy it.
I'm hoping that, book nerds and people who have never seen it can appreciate it, and maybe they'll go play the game. People will go in the opposite order. So to be honest, most people probably played the games first and then read the books and were like, what the shit is this?
I would be surprised if even that many people actually read the books after playing the games.
I know a few.
I'm saying many people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This will be the opposite of that. You'll find a way to unite the fandoms because it'll go from television and books because that'll be probably the closest together, and then they'll most likely go play the games.
Play the games itself, yeah. It could be a possibility. Comes out, I think, later on this year, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that, but it looks awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Henry Cavill is a great actor, so I mean,
he was delightful in The Tudors.
And he, on a side
Man
note,
from Uncle.
he
not Superman. Fuck you,
he
Zack
he semi-dropped out of playing Superman for right now, mainly because
because they're trying to reboot everything.
Well, no, WB was like, we want you to come back and play Superman, but we haven't made any final concrete plans on how we're going to bring you back and move forward with the character. So it's kind of went, cool. Hey, Netflix, you want me to play join the Witcher cast? Yeah, let me go over there. WB, if you actually want to do this, give me a call. But for now, I'm focusing
I'm not
on
gonna
that.
hold my breath. That's
yeah,
fine.
exactly. If you recast, you recast. I would love to play the character
Yeah,
again, but
he's doing makes sense.
Yeah,
but everyone's misconstruing it as he's no longer a Superman. It's like, no, he's just wants to be busy and wants to do acting, so he's gonna
exactly
go act.
Yeah. The last trailer we're just gonna talk about briefly was Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick. Sorry, I'm thinking of just Jeremy Clarkson going power around a turn. Anyways.
No, man, you get fighter jets doing shit and hopefully way too much Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, there'll be a shitload of that. And of course, the trailer basically shows a fighter jet way too low to the ground, going top speed. Very reminiscent of a scene from the latest Star Wars trailer. Had to put that in there.
Remember, we get to see Maverick and Goose's son.
Yeah, there's like, oh yeah, Goose picture on the wall. Oh, okay.
Well, that's the whole point. It's Goose's kid, who's being played by Miles Teller.
And everybody's going to Tom Cruise going, why are you
still a pilot?
Why are you still a pilot? You could have been a 2-star admiral right now. Instead, you decide to stick back here and be just a captain and whatnot. And why does it seem like you haven't aged in the past 30 years?
That's Tom Cruise.
Well, it's also digital aging. He has that contract
Doesn't matter.
there. Yeah.
Even when you see him without that shit, it's like, dude, you still don't look your age.
This is true. Scientology must be doing something for him. Anyways.
Those statins does wonders for your skin.
Must be. But, I mean, it looks pretty fun.
I was saying, finally, Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back. The reboot. Features not one, but like 4 Batman.
3 Batman. You got Ben Affleck, Val Kilmer. Why am I thinking? I'm skipping on the last one. I don't think they've actually announced the last one. They just said they have 3 Batmen in this film.
It wouldn't surprise me if Kevin Conroy is one of them.
That would be fantastic. I would love that. But yeah, Kevin Smith is just going crazy, calling in all his friends and saying, like, let's have fun. The cool thing is
it's him working with Ben Affleck again. Because people asked if Ben Affleck had reached out to him when Kevin Smith had his heart attack, and he goes, no, I don't know why he's mad at me or if he is, but...
I would love to have him on there.
I miss my friend Ben.
And then 6 degrees of separation later, gets a call over, and it's like, hey.
Well, no. What ended up happening was, after that interview, when Kevin Smith's like, yeah, I miss my friend, Ben Affleck was doing something. He was doing press for that Netflix movie he did. And the guy who interviewed him was like, so what's the deal with you and Kevin Smith? Like, he says he misses you, and he explained the whole story, and he goes, oh.
Yeah, like, no one's reached out to me on this.
He's like, oh, we're playing dumb, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, he even said that, like, he's rebooting Jay and Silent Bob, his new movie. You know, if you ever want to work with him on that, he says you're more than welcome. He'll easily write you into it if he didn't already. He's like, all right, well, fucking Kevin Smith, your people call my people or whatever. So he sent a text. It was like, hey, man, how's it going? Hey, good. How you been? He's like, I have my friend back. Like, he wrote, like
I saw the big thing on Instagram.
Like Kevin Smith does. He'll post something on Instagram and just...
Like 4 paragraphs.
A short essay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, good for you, man.
Yeah.
But the trailer itself actually looks funny. Like, it looks stupid as shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like...
But, I mean, that's Jay and Silent Bob in a nutshell.
It looks like a straight Jay and Bob movie.
I'm fine with that.
When it starts with the cops busting down a dispensary and Jay comes out, you know, tucked between his legs, literally. You just kind of go, yep.
That's the type of movie we're going to be going to.
This is what is setting the tone.
Yep. I'm fine with that.
Yep.
But that's just a taste of all the trailers that came out before, during, and after Comic-Con. We're not going to try to go through everything. This episode would be like 3 hours long if we tried to do so. And that's not even touching any of the comics informations, any of the video game stuff that talked about, all the cool stuff they had in the exhibit hall, and the surrounding area. We're just going to talk about just things that came in our newsfeed that we thought were really cool. Yeah. But before we do that, let's get some quick reviews in.
Okay.
Spider-Man Far From Home came out just before July 4th and July 2nd. Mm-hmm. It is, I believe, already officially crossed the $1 billion mark worldwide. Yep. It's the third Marvel film this year that has crossed the $1 billion mark.
Well, and that was important because apparently it was part of the deal with Sony that's like, the movie has to make $1 billion or we're done playing.
Yes.
Which is fucking stupid and childish.
And yet, for some reason, they agreed to it, and Kevin Feige was like, yeah, we got this.
Well, I think it's because he knew. It's like, yeah, you literally just slap our name on something, and we'll guarantee
it prints money. Yeah.
They're going to make some weird shit.
I think it was a solid follow-up to Homecoming, and I think it was a nice coda to everything that we experienced in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, it was a fantastic little epilogue.
Because we had this literally universe-spanning, event, cataclysmic event.
10 years!
Go through this whole process of, with all Thanos and the Infinity Stones, and go through that the whole thing, and it got resolved. And then we went to a much more smaller, more intimate issue, and I was happy with. It doesn't always have to be bigger or better. The universe is at stake.
Yeah, I mean, bigger isn't always better.
It's the Gurren Lagann effect, or the Dragon Ball Z effect. There's always something bigger and bigger and bigger that has to be done. At what point can you go bigger at that point without getting, so ridiculous to the point that no one's really going to care about it? So these smaller movies where they pull back, kind of like the Ant-Man and the Wasp movies, and of course Spider-Man, thoroughly enjoyed them. It was, for the most part, self-contained. It definitely, you couldn't watch this film without watching Endgame first, with everything that happened between the two movies.
Only in the sense that if you didn't, it would definitely be a giant spoiler.
Like, what happened here? Oh, who's this? Oh, okay.
What happened to Tony Stark? Which is like 70% of that movie.
Yeah, no kidding. The whole thing, how they try to explain the 5-year gap with the blink or the blip.
Yeah. People just started coming back out of nowhere.
Yeah. Like the basketball game gets all of a sudden brought back by the band kids. Yeah.
Don't say geeks. Those are your people.
They are. I'm a geek. I'll say that. Band geeks.
Maybe they were just doing it for college credit.
Yeah, right. Anyways, now we have these elementals and the introduction of Mysterio. I don't want to go any farther than that if you haven't seen this movie, but they definitely took the core ideas.
It's been long enough.
Then go for it.
Fuck it. The elementals aren't even the elementals.
Nope.
It's just
holograms and drones.
The fucking kid from A Christmas Story working with Donnie Darko to fucking create realistic holograms with drones.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Is that what it was?
the little nerdy kid? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because that's why it was such a big deal in Iron Man 1 when the dude yells at the little nerdy kid, Tony Stark built this in a cave with scraps.
Yeah.
That was the little kid from A Christmas Story. So they brought him back for this one to be one of the, like, you wronged me.
I'm here to extract my revenge.
Get
kind
revenge because Tony Stark is dead, so I'm getting revenge on not Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Which,
the whole thing with Mysterio that it's just a sham, like he is in the comics itself.
but how would he have known about the glasses?
Remember even his whole stupid speech at the end, praising everybody around him, and whatnot. He went, this guy did this, and this guy did this, and he pointed to one woman like Brenda or something like that, and you're the one that found out that Edith was a thing and was going to be transferred over to Peter Parker. That was her only contribution as far as we're aware from this.
Ex Machina line.
Yeah, exactly. This was like, how are we going to yada yada this? Hey, look, this. Okay, here we go.
You just sort of do it. That's how it works.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, Spidey comes, has his crisis, comes back stronger and better than ever, saves the day.
I mean, my favorite part's that he's like, I'll handle the music. And he plays AC/DC in classic Tony Stark style. I love Led Zeppelin.
I did like that Happy was,
A weird father figure.
was all over this film like
Peter's
that.
mom?
Yep.
Or Aunt May?
Well, yes, there's that too. So it's nice to see that Jon Favreau will still be part of this universe one way or another for the foreseeable future with all of that.
It's probably in his contract after they fucked him after Avengers.
Yeah, no kidding. But overall, I enjoyed it.
It's good.
I had some good laughs. Had good action. The storyline was easy to follow, and I mean, the teachers were the worst fucking part of this film.
Yeah, I could have done with that then.
Yeah.
I also don't care for Martin Starr. I don't know why they keep putting him in shit. He doesn't really act. He just kind of shows up and is very monotone. But occasionally he's fast monotone because he's excited about something.
And maybe that's just they wanted to bring someone who had that personality and
I think
demeanor
he
and
had
whatnot.
dirt on somebody.
Oh, you think he just blackmailed his way into this film? Blackmailed his way into a paycheck? How else would you explain him being in here? Because he's not really a likable, character or a person.
Most people I know don't even know who the fuck he is. At least with, what's his name? I think it's like J.B. Smooth.
Oh,
most people,
the witch's guy, yeah.
Most people, I kind of know who he is. Because he shows up in weird shit all over the place. He was in The Hangover.
Mm-hmm.
He was the drug dealer, if I'm not mistaken. Who sold them the roofies.
Yep. Yeah.
Martin Starr. Name two things he's done.
I couldn't.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought two would have been easy for you, considering Silicon Valley and Freaks and Geeks.
Two series I've never watched.
Really?
Yeah.
Freaks and Geeks is good. Silicon Valley is alright.
So I've heard.
But I feel like you'd actually love it, though.
Really?
It's a lot of, like, techie
Silicon
nerd shit.
Okay. It was always on my radar to watch list,
I also
but I never
don't
got
care
around to
about
it.
Thomas Middlestitch. And Kunal Nanjiani. He's small doses.
I like Kamal Nanjiani. He
Small doses.
small doses. I did like him in
Man in Black?
Twilight Zone.
He was in that?
Yeah.
Good for him.
He had a whole episode where
He's
he was
getting work like crazy right now.
He is blowing up right now, but like in the Twilight Zone episode, he was basically a down and out comedian who meets up with basically the version of the devil, which is played by I'm drawing the guy who black comedian I want to say he had a stroke. Can't remember his name for the life.
Tracy Jordan?
Yes, Tracy
Morgan. Sorry,
Tracy Morgan. Yes. That what if I can rise your career and whatnot, and he finds out as the episode progresses that if he's trying to do his own original shtick, it doesn't go anywhere. People don't care. But as soon as he starts calling out people by name and just bashing on them, the crowd fucking loves it, and he became superstar status. The catch is, everybody that he talks about on stage mysteriously disappears. It's actually a really good episode, so.
I was slightly bored thinking about that, and that was quite a tangent. Long story short, it was a good movie. Graphically, it was cool. Few gripes I had were just small gripes, me being nitpicky.
Which we do.
Like I said, I didn't care for the suit at the end.
The black and red.
Why do you keep trying to give like make it?
You
seem like
you
the glove
keep
is
on
fitting
bringing
those
that up.
gloves?
Yeah, I know.
They did the same thing in The Amazing Spider-Man, and nobody liked the fucking suit.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happened? People actually liked the suit when you made it look like the one in the comics for the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? We're gonna do that for Spider-Man: Homecoming because Sony doesn't learn their fucking lesson.
They want to have their own take on everything, and apparently that's the only way they can do their take. I don't know. Anyways, it's a fun movie though. Go see it. It was the end of Phase 3. Let's get into Phase 4 in just a moment, but first, Stranger Things came out July 4th weekend. This was
Actually July 4th
on July
was
4th.
day one.
It was 8 or 9 episodes. 8 episodes.
Only season 2 was 9.
That's right.
Season 1 was 8.
There you go. We were gonna.
I watched them all, so
Yeah, in preparation for because we were gonna record last week.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I couldn't remember anything from season 2, so I started watching season 2.
And you were away at AX, so you didn't have the luxury of me, who sat 2 days beforehand and watched seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. So I'm trying to watch season 2, and I'm like, for some reason I'm not really remembering things from here. Fuck, I might have to go back and watch it. Okay, let's do this. So within a 36-hour time frame, I binged seasons 1, 2, and 3.
You fast forward and skipped shit.
I did. Well, there were some parts that I remember, so I'm skipping those and whatnot. But still, the majority of that 36 hours, I was just
So
sitting
by
there
the
watching
end, you
something.
just picked up a bunch of magnets and just went, magnets. The magnets.
Magnets.
Jesus Christ, Joyce.
Oh. Yeah, she was definitely...
Like, she went from I will stab a motherfucker to protect my child.
Yeah, I
Or
don't
to
care
get
if
my
you
child
believe me.
back.
I am doing whatever I can to bring my child
And
back.
then
I don't care
season
how
3.
crazy.
But Hop, the
The
magnets.
magnets. I keep on going back to the science teacher. I'm like, the only...
She went to Mr. Clark once.
But here's the thing, though. Everything about the science teacher... Because he was in multiple scenes, not just with the mom, but with the kids. And I looked
Throughout
at
the seasons. In season 3, he only showed up the one time.
I just look at it as, did he really need to be there? I mean, they could have just yada yada that.
No, always Mr. Clark. Always need Mr. Clark.
All right, fair enough.
Mr. Clark is the shit, and you know it.
So we went from
He's better than Bob.
parallel universe, horror, alien, beast to Russians.
Well, they're always building up to something. The only difference is they kind of we're going to completely forget this secret organization exists anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or, sorry, this government agency exists. I don't think they ever actually fully explained that.
No, again, it seems to be my phrase of this episode, but they yada yada the shit out of that. But they're gone.
And then this season 3, there's Russians. Okay.
Yes. And in the same town too.
And bring
And
back
they-
Murray
and
Bauman
they build
just
out
because
this-
he speaks Russian.
Yeah, they built out this ginormous facility, underground mall, or underneath the mall.
And nobody noticed. How do you build that shit in a few months and no one notices a goddamn thing?
Not to mention the whole thing of, hey, look, the secret way to get into this underground Russian base is the
loading dock.
the loading dock of the mall, and then you look over there and it's like, it looks like a normal loading dock for a mall, except for the armed bald Russian.
Yeah.
Like no one's ever gonna notice that, right? No.
Yeah.
But they had.
Again, I felt like they did that a bunch of times throughout this season.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to involve Joyce? Because magnets. Okay.
Yeah.
How are we going to get Hop involved? Because he wants to protect Joyce and her magnets. All right. How are we going to make the mall make sense? Because Steve works at the mall. Okay. Like they just did some weird Mad Lib and threw shit together.
I just don't have to like the fact that they were like, okay, he works with this girl. You want to know things he really likes and they should get back together. Well, how can we make sure that they don't?
By the way, surprise, I'm a lesbian. Oh.
Just
all right.
right at the end. It was like, what?
I have no problem if that's just a general character, but when 2 episodes prior, she goes, I was obsessed with you. You were all I could think about. You and your perfect hair.
Yeah.
And your beauty. And it's like, okay. And then when he's like, hey, I think I actually kind of like you as a person. You want to have a go at this?
I
like
lesbian.
women. That's not what I meant at all. Oh. Did you guys were you just writing these scripts on the fly? And you're just like, all right, I'm gonna M. Night Shyamalan this bitch and just surprise! What a twist!
Yeah. And then you have the younger sister.
Fuck, Erica's the worst.
She was annoying as hell through this whole thing. The whole, like, I'm going to hang out with my friends at the mall, but that's the usual 80s thing. But I'm going to do everything to kind of fuck everybody else over and have things done my way. I'm going to keep on asking for samples after sample after sample. Oh, you want me to do this? I'm going to blackmail you into everything. It was,
you want to be a likable character, but you're proving nothing to be likable. The only way you're seemingly likable is when Destin's like, you know you're a nerd, right?
Dude, that scene about My Little Pony was fantastic.
That's because you're a brony.
Yes. But no, just the way that they explained it, I was like, even if I wasn't a brony, I was like,
I mean, yeah, even
well
I was
done.
like, well done, but... Nah.
At least I'm happy the fact that Will just wasn't eternally tormented like he has been in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, he was. Guys, I just want to play Dungeons and Dragons. Which is funny,
Okay.
because he's essentially the embodiment of anyone who plays Dungeons and Dragons nowadays. Guys, you want to hang out and play Dungeons and Dragons? No, we got life going on. You said we'd hang out and play Dungeons and Dragons. That's why I freed up my time for this. But people and lives.
Dungeons and
Dungeons
Dragons.
and Dragons. Things turn to shit, so you're done with that. Can we play the fucking game now? No, I gotta find a way to fix this other bullshit. God damn it. Like, you just saw his internal struggle. It's like, why can't we just play Dungeons and Dragons?
Though, well played on the whole, I found a girlfriend in science camp and ending with never-ending story. Oh.
It was all pretty solid.
That was fun. And they teased that, or they laid that down in episode 1 of season 3.
But the whole thing is like, is she fake? There's no way this person is real. And then the twist at the end is she is real. And she's
But not
very
only is
much
she
every-
real, they're going to have a duet over the radio waves.
But again, that's kind of Gat and Mazzo's thing. Like, he did Broadway for the longest time.
This is true.
He was big for doing Les Mis.
It was fun, though. I mean, overall, I found myself enjoying this season a lot more than season 2.
Like, you didn't have Collie.
Mm.
Did you had Erica?
Yeah, I wouldn't call that really a up or down. That's more of a lateral shift.
Yeah. Speaking of Collie, we never see or anything about her. Even though they did so much work about her in season 2.
know. We have all this build up. What are we going to do with it?
Or Brennan. Another thing
chuck
they
it.
heavily teased. And at best, I think Brennan was the one who was the American.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert. I think he got like 2 weeks. Been past that.
Yeah. But let's get to our top story. And that's going to be Marvel at Comic-Con 2019, which basically owned the convention. There were a ton of things to talk about outside of Marvel, but if you bring up Comic-Con to pretty much anybody regarding 2019, it's going to be about what Marvel dropped on the table. Yeah, everything. Let's get through just a quick rundown of pretty much everything they talked about.
Marvel's going to shit because it's about women. All the women. I'm being a sarcastic asshole. Like, we read articles about that throughout the week of people like men having their genitalia attacked because of this.
Here's the thing, though. Scarlett Johansson, I was reading while I was getting prepped for this today. She actually was in an interview was like, Marvel's future is women-centric.
That's fine. When everything's been very male-centric, that's cool.
Yeah.
Have the skirts do some shit.
There's a lot of awesome female superheroes out there that they even haven't touched yet.
I was straight tickled when they're like, Thor 4, Love and Thunder, with Natalie Portman coming back as Thor.
It was like, yes! Can't wait.
Cool. But
yeah, let's get through the
Black
whole
Widow.
thing. So we got Black Widow. This is a prequel that digs into her past. We have confirmation of dates and casting, and we already knew that like David Harbour was going to be in it.
Budapest.
They're going to talk about what the aforementioned Budapest scenario. But isn't David Harbour playing
Alexei, the Red Guardian.
basically Soviet Captain America without the super strength?
Without super drugs.
Super anything, yeah, at this point.
But Red Guardian, Alexei, his whole thing was he was
Test
Natasha,
pilot.
he was a test pilot and Natasha Romanoff's husband.
Yep.
Faked his death. Depending on the story you read, either he faked it or the government faked it, causing her to lose her shit and wanting to fight and go do shit for her country, and ends up joining the Red Room, hence becoming Black Widow.
Yada, yada, yada. All right.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is,
Retconning bullshit Ben Kingsley.
yeah. I mean, this was to be feature the real
Mandarin.
Mandarin. Even though back in was it Iron Man 2 or 3 that had the Mandarin? Was it 3? Yeah, okay. Even then they said like he's not the real Mandarin. He's just a
No, they did that. It was one of the one shots. One of the short things you got on a DVD where he went to jail and they subtly hinted he's not the real one. This was just a name that they stole and reappropriated or some
right.
shit.
So we'll find the actual Mandarin
Which
and
I
whatnot.
think they just did that afterwards because nerds were pissed. They're like, you did what to one of our favorite villains?
Yeah. But with Shang-Chi, there's actually going to be a majority Asian cast. The titular character of this actually doesn't really have superpowers. She's just a badass martial artist. So it should be a lot of fun. This will be the third film in the Phase 4 for the MCU. Then we also have The Eternals, which has been rumored for a while. I was curious to see which path they were going to take because there's like the original 70s version. There was the Neil Gaiman version, which is actually the superior version. There was a rebooted version, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s. But all said and done, it appears they are going to be using Neil Gaiman's version of the Eternals as the basis for this film.
For story, though, but everything else is based
story.
off like Jack Kirby shit, right?
The characters' designs and whatnot will be Jack Kirby-esque.
Yeah.
The story is going to be Neil Gaiman.
Well, it's going to be their own shit, but yeah, these are the two things they're heavily pulling from other people.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. Some of the big names attached to this are I can't remember his name right. Kumail Nanjiani and Angelina Jolie.
Some deaf chick.
Oh yeah. So the whole thing about it, because these are
Sorry, that sounded really insensitive. I knew
We can remember
nothing
the
about
name.
her. I'm 90% sure she hasn't really done anything else besides this. But everyone's like, oh, they hired a deaf actress for this character. Okay.
This basically also ties in everything you saw in like Agents of Shield and the ABC show. Basically, the gist of it is Eternals are humans that were experimented on originally by the Celestials, and then
Sorry, we fucked up Inhumans. We're gonna try it again.
yeah, basically. So they're gonna, they've been granted superpowers and immortality, but the twist about all this is that the majority of them don't even know they're eternal or they're immortal, that they are Eternals and whatnot. But one that has found out is slowly trying to grab them all and bring them all together to face some big baddie. And of course, this is taking place in New York, because everything has to take place in New York nowadays.
Oh, if you're in Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about Doctor Strange 2: Madness in the Multiverse.
Marvel's announced it's going to be their first horror film.
Looking forward to this.
Heavily implied that, in addition to whatever they've already announced, Shima Gorath will be the bad guy or a bad guy in it.
I'm fine with that.
We'll also get to see, which I do kind of feel bad because they're saying that Scarlet Witch, Wanda, is going to be like the second in command for this. That's just kind of a slap to the face to Wong.
Yes, it is.
Don't get me wrong. You want to bring a redhead in tight leather pants? I'm not going to argue you.
Well, there you go.
But poor Wong,
Yeah,
man.
he's gonna be in it, and regardless, but he gets played third fiddle at this point.
When he should be number 2, like that's.
I'm sure there'll be some sort of banter between them and find out what's going on with that. The upcoming Disney Plus series WandaVision, still the worst title you could have made for that, something like that.
Yeah.
Is supposed to tie in directly as a prequel to Doctor Strange 2. So
Which is apparently supposed to retcon and give us actual Scarlet Witch. She'll go back to being a mutant instead of a miracle.
But what accent will she have this time?
Hopefully they'll just get rid of the accent together. She goes, I've acclimated greatly, as you can tell.
Yes. Just leave it at that. Have that one line, and then you can move forward with her in a regular accent. Don't worry about her trying to pull off an Eastern European accent.
Well, like I said, you've noticed it slowly disappeared throughout the movies, so it kind of made sense.
Well, the thing is, though, it
were still
disappeared,
times
but
it
then it
would come
came back, and we're
yeah.
like,
she seemed like someone trying to get rid of her accent.
Or more so, like they did reshoots,
Or
and she
she
forgot
just
to
forgot
have
to have
it.
Yeah.
Oh well. Moving on, Thor: Love and Thunder. This is the fourth Thor movie. As you brought up, you have Natalie Portman returning as Jane Foster and also as Thor. There's always a possibility of having many Thors if you've ever read the comics and followed those.
Not really, because Thor is Thor. It's a name, not a title. It's not Batman.
There's the Thor Corps. There's the different universe
But,
Thors.
I mean, that's something that did come about. I mean, when they announced that she would be Thor,
right.
The first thing they had to come out and be like, she's not Lady Thor. She's
just
Thor.
Thor. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, if you were having a conversation and I say Thor, we're going to think Chris Hemsworth or some built, jacked, blonde guy with abs.
Mm-hmm.
And a beard. I'm sorry.
And of course, Natalie Portman's like, this is my before picture, her holding the Mjolnir on stage before I get jacked up. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm curious to see if they actually follow the latest comics version of it, which is she is basically a cancer patient, and that she is found out after becoming Thor multiple times was that every time she wields Mjolnir and becomes Thor, she undoes everything that she has worked for to erase or beat the cancer in her body. So it gets to the final point where she's going to, if she becomes Thor one more time, when she comes back to revert back to being a human, she's just going to die. There's no way to beat the cancer at that point. But that'll have to indicate that they're going to give the character cancer in the MCU in the first place. So, and then Thor becomes Old Man Thor with a.
Well, he's already kind of that way already with the missing eye, the being slightly out of shape.
True. And Old Man Thor in the comics, he had a.
He even has Stormbreaker, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has a giant axe, but it's not Stormbreaker. Yeah. But yeah, we're talking more about it. It sounds fun. You have Taika Waititi back in the director's chair for it, so it could be a hell of a lot of fun. We won't see anything until 2021 for that
Whatever.
one.
We got Taika Waititi back doing writing and directing for this, as well as we got to see a small clip of him in Rick and Morty.
Yes, he has a voice acting role for season 4, which is only like 10 episodes, but 10 episodes this season. But as a side jack for that.
Well, they're still saying it's 10 episodes a season, but what they're saying is instead of waiting 2-3 years for a season, we'll get the next season in less than a year.
They're already working on the next season beyond
That's
this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, they already contracted for 70 episodes, so by that logic, we have 7 more seasons to go.
Yeah, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, be fine with that.
And now, Blade! Marsha Ali is taking over the role instead of good old tax evasion Wesley Snipes.
And this was one of those, one more thing you would put in a presentation. It was just Kevin Feige after having everyone on stage, we have one more person to bring on stage. Come here, Mahershala Ali, 2-time Oscar winner, Mahershala Ali. He comes in and just pops on a cap that says Blade, and they just do wham with the Blade logo on it, and that's all we get. And we're like, that's enough for me. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, they've already hinted that they're already working on Phase 5, or already have it planned out. They're just ironing out the details.
Well, that's the thing we'll get to in just a moment, because now that the fact that you have Disney Plus coming out later on this year, you have all these Marvel series,
which is like half of what the Marvel panel was.
Yes, exactly. So they were turning around and saying, "Oh, we're only having, we're leaving it to 2 movies a year," but that's fine because in betwixt all that, we'll have another 3 or 4 series for you to watch. You're not gonna have a loss or a drop in content to watch on this. So if the phases become shorter, I'm fine with that.
Decent content. I don't need more.
Exactly. Well, speaking of which, let's talk about some of the things that will be available on Disney Plus, both when it launches on November 2nd of this year, as well as in future years throughout Phase 4.
We already mentioned WandaVision.
Yes. There's also Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So basically, Falcon's the new Captain America. Winter Soldier, they team up buddy cop style, hopefully.
They fight Baron Helmut Zemo.
Zemo's back.
Which they teased and actually showed an image where he's got the
purple mask.
The weird purple ski mask.
Yeah. Which is a throwback to
do you think he's going to have it super glued to his face, or is it going to be removable?
It'll be removable.
Shame.
Yeah, true. Loki,
you don't want it to be like G.I. Joe, where the mask magically got stuck at the end. You can call me Commander. Jesus, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that was a low point for you.
Loki, everyone's favorite baddie they wish turned good, blah, blah, blah. Tom Hiddleston's back reprising this role. In Endgame, he basically found a way to escape. And this basically follows him along that path. He just wanders the universe, post Endgame. So we'll see what happens with all
Loki
that.
doing Loki things.
Yeah, mostly evil stuff, some good stuff, and we'll see what happens at the end. They have a. They announced the What If series that was heavily
Well, they
rumored for a
talked
while.
about it. They already kind of announced it.
I thought that was just heavily.
All of these series they've already announced, except for the Phase 5 shit we'll talk in a bit.
Yeah.
But Hawkeye, What If, WandaVision.
I do like that with the What If series though. It's why I drew a blank on his name. Jeremy. Not
Renner.
Not Renner. Well, I can't remember the name. I'm gonna draw a blank until I pull it up right here. Look at this article real quick.
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright, thank you. Bernard from Westworld. He is brought on to be the narrator. Is basically be the Watcher. They also confirmed in a huge slate. We're not going to show that picture because you can find
I
online.
thought they already said Stan Lee was Uatu.
Yeah, I guess this is a different Watcher at this point. And
what if Stan Lee was not the Watcher anymore?
but he did get a street in New York named after him. So
He did.
yes. But they showed like, well, who's going to reprise all these famous characters for this animated series? They threw up this picture and it was like, oh, everybody who actually starred these characters in the movies is coming back to reprise their roles
we'll
for
pay
this.
them a shit ton of money to show up and do a day's work.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a ton of people going on with that. That one is not coming out at launch. That will be out in summer of 2021. Hawkeye, it will be coming out, I think, in 2021 as well. This will actually feature Kate Bishop as well, and it will actually detail more of his time as Ronin. So,
Not his sweet new singing career?
no, not a sweet new singing career. It's a shame.
Fuck that is.
And then at the end, Kevin Feige is, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We couldn't talk about anything. I didn't have a chance to talk about, the Fantastic Four. What? You guys are actually making a Fantastic Four movie. You should talk more about that. We haven't had time to talk about mutants. Okay, well, there you go with X-Men and everything going on with that.
Phase 5, coming soon.
Yeah.
Which, that's fine. They barely just got the rights to it.
Yeah. Mic drop, walk
in
out.
an article that came out today, Disney basically turned around and told Fox, their executive, hey, remember how you guys were supposed to take control of this? Not anymore. You're giving all control over to Kevin Feige.
Mm-hmm.
What? Give up control now, and he's taking over. Fuck you.
Yep. But
And
you
that was
said
over
we
Fantastic
bought...
Four,
Yeah.
X-Men, and Deadpool.
Yeah, we bought, you whole... Everything that's included with this deal,
Mm-hmm.
we now own. We're not trusting you with any of this. Give it to this guy.
We own all of this now.
We own you now. Be glad you still have a job, or for the next 20 minutes.
You have a job for now until we do another massive layoff.
Yeah. So, that was pretty much everything that Marvel talked about. It was kind of everybody was going nuts over. There's a lot of stuff to unpack through there. Not to mention they've already came out and said, yeah, thank you guys for joining us for Comic-Con. By the way, we have a ton more stuff to talk about at D23 in August.
Which, that's fair.
But that's Disney's own thing,
yeah.
so...
But I mean, like, let's be real. If this was their cock tease,
Oh, I can only imagine.
the shit are we going to get in D23 in a few months?
No idea. We'll have to see. Anaheim Convention Center, August 22nd to the 24th, I want to say. Something like that.
Sure.
Let's talk about DC stuff real quick. So, the CW, their DC TV shows have actually been very solid in terms of popularity, and they always have these crossover series that have gone very well for the past few years.
Yeah.
Given the fact that Arrow, their tentpole series at this point, is reaching its 8th and final season.
Yeah, see, it's on its way out, though.
Yeah, it's on its final season, so they decided, well, we need to go out with a bang on this before we move on to our other characters. So what are we going to do with this? And they decided to go, you know what? Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Bring Ben Affleck back and have him be Batman one last time. Because they are saying that he's getting back into jacked shape for some reason.
That could be it.
So no one knows.
Yeah, so Crisis on Infinite Earths was a huge undertaking, a huge event within the DC Comics, incorporating pretty much every single DC franchise
the
out
Infinite
there.
Earth, like the original, that was DC trying to have an answer to the Infinity War.
Yes. And now they came out with this. So what's nice about this is that DC and the CW are basically turning around and saying, you know what, we are, taking out all the stops on this. We are making sure we're going to make this as epic as possible. So we have multiple universes coming together for this story. Who can we bring? What's our wish list at this point?
How can we do this better than having Nazi Supergirl?
for starters, we're gonna have like what 2 or 3 different Supermen in this. You have
3 that have been announced.
Yeah, you have Brendan Routh that's coming back. You have
Tom Welling.
Tom Welling. Who was the other
and
guy?
the guy who plays him on Supergirl.
Tony something, I want to say.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's Supergirl.
Some guy that no one paid attention to and for some reason has a job.
Yeah. You also have Robin from the 66 Batman series coming back. So you have Burt Ward playing the character coming back, and of course, in his what they're going to say is that his Batman has died. So,
I mean, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong. So, but they had to bring that up there one way or another. You have Lynda Carter returning. This time she'll actually be back as Wonder Woman. You have.
Have you seen her lately?
No, I have not.
Milfy as shit.
Wow.
Well, Grand Milfy, because she's a bit that older, but still.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
She's a good-looking older broad.
Gotcha. The only other things that they have hinted at so far is that
Oh, there you go. Tyler Hoechlin.
There you go. The other Superman. But also several actors from the DCEU, their movie universe, will be coming back to reprise their roles for this special event.
Again,
this crossover
Ben
event.
Affleck.
Yes, having Ben Affleck.
If he's low enough to do a Kevin Smith movie, clearly he's got the extra time.
Speaking of Batman, with Robert Pattinson confirmed as playing the Batman for the upcoming movie The Batman, it apparently has been found out, according to Comic-Con, rumored, yes, that Matt Reeves is actually adapting a short series of Batman comics called The Long Halloween.
Would we really call it short?
It was 3 volume, not trades. Yeah, trades.
It was 3 trades spanning 3 full stories, because it's referred to as just The Long Halloween.
Right.
But that also includes The Dark Victory, and fuck, there's a third one. I'm a terrible nerd for forgetting this. It was Long Halloween, Dark Victory.
I'm drawing a blank.
Whatever.
Well. Anyways, yeah.
But there's 3 of them, and if you add them up, it's a fat stack.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably the size of the Infinity War book that I have.
1,450 pages?
Again, there's also a lot of extra shit that you don't really
There
ever
really
read,
was a lot of extra stuff in that one, yeah. But, yeah.
saying.
So, I mean, this whole
I would not call
comic
that
series
short.
Okay. Well, I consider short as is kind of like a self-contained thing. It's not ongoing for years. But that's apples and oranges at this point. So this is probably going to feature, if it's anything like the comic, you have Joker, Penguin, Riddler, Catwoman, Two-Face, Mad Hatter, Firefly, Poison Ivy, Solomon Grundy, Joker, Calendar Scarecrow. I mean, just everybody they're throwing into this one itself.
To me, it's like Calendar Man will be the one I'm most intrigued. Is like, how the fuck do you explain
how you
that?
can explain that, and also how do you make that entertaining?
Have him be played by Anthony Hopkins. Well, no. Think about Calendar Man, who he was, how he was essentially Hannibal Lecter.
You know, you're right. When you're right, you're right.
I know, and it happens often when talking to you. It's fair. I'm an asshole.
Yes.
Never agreed to anything less.
Fair enough. All right. But anyways, that's all we have as a rumor right now. No other official word. No any other confirmations or even when this movie is going to be coming out. So.
Really? I thought it was coming out like 2020.
They didn't give us an exact date yet, so we'll have to see at that point.
How dare you skip one of the most exciting Batman things?
Which was?
Okay, in the current stand of the comic books, we also have the fact that there's a series coming, or that's ongoing right now, where Bane takes over Gotham. So him never being one to shy away, the Joker is going to have a huge role to play in all of this. And what's exciting about this is this storyline is going to be coming out as a one-shot, and it'll be co-written by Halloween's own John Carpenter, writing the story of the Joker, proving why his dick is bigger than Bane, and why he's the better bad guy.
I have high hopes.
As well as Blumhouse came out with John Carpenter in agreement, and with Jamie Lee Curtis agreeing, there's going to be 2 more Halloween
movies. And they're doing them basically
back to back.
Yeah.
We will get one next year, and then one immediately the year after.
Can't wait.
They start filming in September.
Sweet. cannot wait.
I hope they bring back Paul Rudd. I hope he comes back as a snotty 20-year-old because he probably could still play that shit. And then he's the one who murders Michael Myers again.
There you go.
Bring that shit full circle.
I mean, considering the Halloween that we had, was it last year, was basically a continuation off of Halloween 2. So all the rest of them are like,
Kind of. Mostly 1.
There were some parts in 2 that they...
Well, they also referenced 3. Remember, it had the kids that showed up in the Silver Shamrock mask.
That's true. I think it's more homage for the fans to, hey, look, that's cute. That's it. Anyways.
Happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Just had that as your ringtone for
Oh,
a while.
When she eventually saw that, she goes, oh yeah, that's going to be my wake-up alarm. Because that's annoying enough where it'll wake me up, but not annoying enough for me to want to throw my phone at Jason.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways. The last thing for us to talk about real quick, Archer. There he was at the cast and crew were at Comic-Con. A lot of people were
Like
assuming
they
to be... A lot of them were assuming them to just do like a victory lap, saying we've had 10 seasons. This is a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for for joining us on this. And they turn around and go, oh no, we're not done yet. Actually, we are on. We
got a little bit more juice.
Season 11. So the current season and the past 2 seasons, they've done basically coma fever dreams of Archer. He's been in a coma, and he has it in different.
Because it was like
universe
noir
that
and
happened.
space.
Mm-hmm. Space one is right now. Space 1999. That's the one going on right now. But the whole thing was that while he was in a coma, he was basically, people were assuming that he was just going to wake up or he was just going to die and be done with it. But according to the cast and crew, that in the 11th season, he actually wakes up out of his coma. Everything goes back to normal, and they actually go back for the 11th season back to being a spy agency.
Oh, okay.
So they're going back to basics on this one, which is kind of good because
Which, again, I still find it funny. They were a spy agency called ISIS.
then they got rid of that very quickly.
Because actual ISIS was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
All right, that's gonna be it for this episode. We went through pretty much everything we were actually planning to, and
did it much faster than I was anticipating.
we were expecting at least an hour and a half, if not longer. So,
Yeah.
but we're getting a little better at this. I mean, this is our 89th episode, so
Come talk to me, we get to 100.
sometime at the end of the year.
That's true.
All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us as always. For Geeks and Drinks, I'm Jason.
I'm Jordan.
Cheers, Internet.